Hello and welcome to Mr. Mechno channel. 3 months ago, Russian army started a mass-scale invasion in Ukraine under the direct order of President Vladimir Putin. At least more than 200,000 of Russian soldiers, together with a massive amount of military hardware, have been sent to Ukraine to, as Putin said, denazify and demilitarize this country. But the Russian army in the Ukraine war that we see today shows a completely different face with what it showed in the parade and exercise. Why such a military power faced with tactical failure against a much weaker enemy? Today we will hear the explanation from Anvi Rizzi, a military analyst from El Pais. What? The defender's advantage. Military experts agree that in urban warfare it is the defender who has the advantage. The buildings and different structures of a city provide many opportunities to hide and take refuge, especially if there is a subway system, as well as to launch surprise attacks on the enemy. The attackers, in contrast, have fewer options and in order to penetrate the city, are forced to move through predictable routes such as streets and avenues. It's such unequal combat that military guides suggest a ratio of 10 offensive soldiers for every defender. 2. Lack of precision. In order to militarily weaken the adversary, precise information on their location and on the fighting is needed. Russian forces have demonstrated that they are not very competent in this area. As a sign of this, they have still not been able to annihilate Ukraine's anti-aircraft defense, explains Anthony King, a professor of war studies at the University of Warwick in the United Kingdom. Either Russia does not have good information about their location or their attacks have not been precise. It's likely to be a mix of these two factors. The Pentagon estimates that Russia still has many missiles in its arsenal, but is seeing shortages in guided missiles. 3. Troop shortages. Another important factor in Russia's struggle to control major cities is that it simply does not have enough troops. To begin with, many military experts say that the number of soldiers for the invasion, which is estimated to be between 150,000 and 190,000, is not enough for such a big operation, particularly given the size and population of Ukraine. The strategy of attacking on multiple fronts at once has dispersed the force and led to serious logistical and supply problems. At no moment have the land forces achieved real supremacy, says King. What's more, as well as being short of troops at the start of the invasion, it's evident that Russia has also suffered a considerable number of losses, although the exact number is unclear. According to Moscow, the figures stand at 1,300 deaths and 3,800 soldiers injured. The Pentagon, however, believes Russia has lost more than 10% of its force, while NATO believes this number could be even higher. 4. Chain of command. Urban warfare also requires special sophistication when it comes to the chain of command and control. In contemporary military offensives, a wide range of lines of action and technology must be orchestrated. Western countries, especially the United States, have evolved towards very sophisticated command structures, explains King. In Russia, if you look at the Gerasimov Doctrine, named after Valery Gerasimov, the chief of staff of Russia's armed forces, you might imagine that the armed forces had modernized by moving away from the traditional, authoritarian model that is very rigid and top-down. I thought they had moved towards another model. But the last weeks have shown total inefficiency in managing a 21st century war. 5. Ukrainian resistance. Ukrainian forces have so far been putting up a strong, agile and effective resistance. Their commitment has not been broken. The supply of Western arms, although limited, is supporting their efforts, as is the flow of information from intelligence agencies and advisories. The Ukrainians have blocked Russia's advance by blowing up bridges, fighting airborne troops head-on, targeting logistical support and courageously resisting within the besieged cities. The combination of these factors has made it difficult for Russia to take control of Ukraine's main cities, leading it to turn to long-distance bombardments of civilian cities. The Kremlin's latest announcement of a new stage may also be seen as recognition that it lacks the capacity to conquer all the cities that it is simultaneously attacking. So in conclusion, despite the Putin's attempt to modernize the Russian army, Russia still shows multiple weaknesses in the battlefield. And what will happen on the next period of the war decide by how Russian army will solve these weaknesses. That will be all. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe Mr. Mechno channel for more interesting video about history, military technology and tactic.